Hello, good morning friends. So last class we discussed about economies of scale and we know that a fall in the long run average cost will be considered as an economies of scale. In this class we are going to be discussed about internal economies of scale. There are two types of economies of scale, internal economies of scale and external economies of scale. It is based on from which way the firm or the company is reducing the long run average cost. It is due to the factors inside the company, then we can able to say that it is internal economies of scale. And it is due to the factors outside the company, we can consider that is a external economies of scale. So today in this class, we are going to be discuss about what are the internal economies of scale, and with an example, we will explain it. Okay, let's see what do you mean by internal economies of scale. So, internal economies of scale are the cost advantages gained by the companies when the production become efficient. We already knows that if the production become efficient means the particular company will be get a increasing returns to scale. So, internal economies of scale are occur because of the increasing returns to scale. It is a cost advantages gained by the company when the production become more efficient. If a firm's productivity is very high, average cost will fall, isn't it? So the same way, because of that efficiency in the production, the long run average cost curve is falling. That will be considered as internal economies of scale. Or the cost per unit of output decreasing with an increasing scale. So that is already I explained. Then internal economies are born from within the company. I already explained. These factors are coming from inside the company. Okay, the internal economies of scale are based on the management decision. So inside the company, who will take the decisions? The management will take the decision. So internal economies of scale are arise because of the internal managerial decisions. Then internal economies of scale occur as the firm increases its output or its physical size. Actually, how a firm can able to grow internally by increasing output or by increasing size. The same way we can able to say that internal economies of scale are arise or happen because of an increase in the output. We know that when you are adding more and more input, what will happen? It will be experiencing increasing returns to scale. That is called what? Economies of scale. The cost of production of that particular company is falling. Then we can check next what are the reasons for internal economies of scale. So here we are discussing about the reasons for internal economies of scale. Based on the reasons of economies of scale, we will classify internal economies of scale into 6 categories. They are financial economies of scale, technical economies of scale, managerial economies of scale, marketing economies of scale, and purchasing economies of scale, and risk bearing economies of scale. That is the last one. Okay, let's check the first, financial economies of scale. Actually, financial economies of scale is the most important thing because a financial economies of scale result from the ability of a large firms to borrow money on better terms than the smaller firms. Actually, which makes the cost of financing investment lower. For the large firms can able to raise a finance with a lower cost. Actually, cost of financing. For example, we can able to say, I want some money for investing in my business. Normally, what I will do, I will take a loan from a bank. So, what is my cost? The interest rate I have to pay. That is my cost. So, small firms often find difficult in obtaining finance for the new investment. For example, a small restaurant is going for a bank to get a loan. Do you think that the bank will provide the loan? If they provide the loan even, the interest rate will be very high. But in the same situation, just imagine that a large firms have a much greater choice of finance and it is likely to be much cheaper for them to borrow than the small firms. For example, if that large firms is going for the bank for getting a loan, surely the banks will provide a loan with a low interest rate. Why? Because the risk is very less for the large firms, but the small firms, they are afraid to give a, because that much we can able to say the cash flow and the strength of the company is very weak, so that it is easier for the large company to obtain finance with a low interest rate. So that's what I am saying, that it is cheaper for obtaining a loan or a new investment for the large company than the small company. So we can able to say that when the firm increases its size, it is easy to get cheaper loans. That is an example of financial economies of scale. Is it clear? Then next is technical economies of scale. It is actually a little bit simple thing. We can able to say that here technical economies of scale are lower unit cost which comes about from the larger firms being able to use more efficient techniques of production and the fact that larger plants are often cheaper to run and productively efficient. We know that when the large firms comes, when the firm is increasing in its size, it will use the resources effectively and efficiently. So that's what we are saying, the large firms will always have a productively efficient. So I will explain with an example. You can able to come to downside. It is often helped by the principles of increased dimension. That means increase in the size. Economies of scale can exist because of an increasing returns to scale. These economies are known as technical economies of scale. For example, while you are adding more and more input to the production process, what will happen? The output will increasing at a greater proportion than the input. So that's why we are calling it as an internal economies of scale or increasing returns to scale. For example, just example, a small business that build houses, a small business will use to build houses, use a machine such as a cement mixer. You know that a cement mixer they are using to build houses. On average, only 3 days a week only the business was able to take. For example, that mixer they will use it only for 3 days in a week. Because it is a smaller, the number of houses they want to build is very less. But if they are getting a more work, so on more work, it might be able to use it for the 5 days. For example, that same mixer you can able to use it for 5 days in a week. Previously they used only 3 days, but now they are using it 5 days. So what will happen? We are using more efficiently. That particular machine we are using completely more efficient. So that time what will happen? The average cost per house build will be lower. The same way, the machines and the tools used in the small firms will be, for example, for 8 hours it will use. But in the case of large firms, there will be 2 shift, day shift and night shift. Throughout the 24 hours, that particular machine will be used. Actually, machine cost is same for the small firm and large firms. But the output, the productivity of that one will be higher in the large firms than the small firm. Due to that one, the large firm's cost of production will be lower. Average cost of production will be lower because it is using more efficiently. That is called technical economies of scale. Then next type of economies of scale is managerial economies of scale. Specialization is an important source of greater efficiency. We know that when you will become efficient, when you become specialized in that one, you will become more efficient. You will become more productively efficient. So, in a small firms, the owner might be a part-time salesman, accountant, receptionist, and a manager. In a sole trader business, all are that particular one person, isn't it? Manager is he, salesman is him, and accountant even him, and receptionist him, manager, everything is him. A to Z is him. So, in that situation, what will happen? Employing a specialist staff is likely to lead a greater efficiency, therefore lower average cost. But in the case of multinational companies, they will have a separate manager for sales manager, accounting manager, financial manager, and everything, the operational manager, everything they will have a separate manager. So that what will happen? They will have a greater efficiency. Therefore, what will happen? Their average cost will be lower. Do you think that a sole trader can able to employ 5 managers? It is very costly and they cannot be do that. But the reason why a small firms do not employ a specialist staff, it is because staff is often represent indivisibility. He cannot be a part-time receptionist or part-time accountant or a part-time manager like that, isn't it? But what is the advantage is that once he is employing that one, his productivity will be very high and the average cost will fall. Actually, why large firms are experiencing a fall in the average cost curve? Because of the efficient management, the efficient managers they are using. That's why the cost of production or average cost of the product is falling down. That's why long run average cost is falling. That's why we are considering that is a financial economies of scale. Okay. The next type of economies of scale is the marketing economies of scale. It is very simple. Marketing means what? Advertising. How you are marketing it. So marketing economies of scale occurs when a large firms are able to lower the unit cost of advertising and production, perhaps through the access of more efficient marketing media. Okay, for example, large firms will have a per unit advertisement cost will be lower. Per unit advertisement cost will be lower. For example, total advertisement cost divided by number of units. When we are dividing, per unit advertisement cost is 5 rupiah or $5 like that. If like that, if you consider it, for example, I given one example here. You can check it that one. A 30-second TV commercial for a product. You can just say a 30-second advertisement in a TV, which has a sales of 10 million per. We can able to say that a product, a number of product is 10 million. Annual cost is the same as the 30-second TV commercial ad for one which has a sales of 5 million. Whether you are having a sales of 10 million or 5 million, the cost of 30-second TV commercial ad will be the same. So that particular amount, but per unit advertisement cost will be lower for the larger firms. Okay, did you understand? For example, $10. For example, we can able to say that around $2,000 advertisement cost. If you are producing 200 units, okay, if you are producing 200 units, per unit advertisement cost will be $20, isn't it? If you are producing 2000 units, per unit advertisement cost will be $1. So that is the difference. So in marketing economies of scale means when you are increasing the number of units you are producing, the advertisement cost will be lower for the larger firms. The larger firms can able to enjoy marketing economies of scale because when the number of units increases, the advertisement cost will fall. That's why. Since the cost of advertising campaign is the same for the higher sales and the lower will be the unit cost. I already explained that one. Clear? Okay. The next type of internal economies of scale is purchasing economies of scale. We already know that. Reducing cost for the large business in buying input, such as the raw materials and the parts, because the large discount will be given to a large purchase than the smaller business can make. For example, we can able to say that one person is purchasing around 100 kg of a product and one person is purchasing a 5 kg of a product. Who will get a more discounts? Those who are purchasing 100 kg, isn't it? The same way, the larger firms, the more likely to be able to buy raw materials in bulk. Bulk buying is often enable these firms to receive discounts. So the firms can able to purchase their factor inputs at a lower price and therefore this lower their average cost. Understood? When you are purchasing in a bulk, what will happen? They will be get a purchasing cost will be lesser because of the discount, large discount they are receiving. Due to that one, their average cost will fall. Long run average cost curve will fall. That is called what? Economies of scale. It is happened because of the purchasing. Then we will call it is the purchasing economies of scale. Then type of economies of scale is the risk-bearing economies of scale. Actually, risk-bearing economies of scale means the company is producing more number of products. What they will do is that they are spreading their risk into the different products. For example, the ability of a large firms to spread the risk over the large number of products. This can result in diversification of location and products. For example, diversification of product I am taking as an example. I am producing apple and orange and grapes. Sometimes the demand for orange will be very low, so I will face a loss in orange. But that time the demand for apple or grapes will be higher, so I can able to get a more profit. So getting loss in the orange production, I am solving by using an apple and grapes. Understood? The same way. The larger firms, the more likely to be produce a diversified range of product and sell it in a different market around the world. If some of these products are likely to be successful and make a profit, that means that what? This spread the risk of product falling across many products, so the firm will be still successful even some products fail. The average cost will be lower. Understood? They are spreading their risk to a number of products so that what will happen? Their average cost will be lower. Their risk of getting loss will be lower so that they can able to successful in their particular business. Did you go there? So that because of this is called what? Risk bearing economies of scale. So these are the type of economies of scale, internal economies of scale. The next class we will be discuss about the external economies of scale.